Hello, everyone. It's such a pleasure to see everyone joining our webinar as I begin to speak. Welcome to our webinar for our presidents or vice presidents or members of clubs and area directors. It's a special pleasure to have President Uta Schultz with us today on this call. The Zonta Spirit Working Group is very pleased to see you with us, and I'll introduce you to our members who'll be speaking with you during this webinar. I'm Lynn Foley, the chair of the group and a member of the Club of Toowoomba Garden City here in Australia. With me today are Laurie Robinson from the Club of Brampton Caledon in Canada and Birgit Novi from the Club of Oldenburg in Germany. This webinar will mostly have to be conducted through the chat, depending on the number of people. We're expecting more than 45 participants today, so it's a little bit hard to do the opportunity to speak with us, but we're certainly going to be asking you lots of questions during the webinar to capture your ideas. So we'd like you to put those into the chat when we get to those questions. So, and please use the chat also to ask any questions that you'd like us to cover during the webinar. I expect the webinar will take between 45 and 50 or up to an hour, depending on the engagement we have from the chat. So it's, again, fabulous to have you all here. So before I start the webinar properly, I'd like to invite President Uta to say a few words.
Thank you very much, dear Lynn, for the wonderful introduction. Dear Lynn, dear Birgit, and dear Laurie, thank you very much for preparing this webinar. And I tell you, I'm very curious what will be happening now. You all know that the Zonta Spirit is a very important topic for me for this biennium, because I think it's important for a happy and successful club life and for a good friendship among Zontians, not only on club level, but also on district and area level. So I'm very happy that Lynn, Laurie, and Birgit are the team of the Zonta Spirit Working Group, and I give the floor to you. Without much ado, I'm happy to listen and to participate.
Excellent. So thank you so much. And it is a very big pleasure to have you join us on this special webinar. This is the second series of webinars that we've presented. We had the opportunity to present for governors, for district governors, back in June, where we ran two different occasions to speak with our governors, which was also a lovely experience. So we're doing a similar webinar today for those of you who are from clubs or from area directors who look after lots and lots of clubs. I see a question there already about the Zonta Spirit logo and background, etc. We're going to talk to you about that towards the end of the webinar, but the answer to that question is yes. You can use the logo and so on. So we'll explain where you can find that, but along the way, either Birgit or Laurie, while I do the introduction, will answer that as we go. So here we go with our webinar today. Megan, could I have the next slide, please? Thank you. This is what we expect to get from today's webinar. We hope that you will get these things from today's webinar. So if you can have a quick look at that, it's an opportunity to reflect on the Zonta Spirit and to share with you where we're at, to gather ideas from members and to leave with new inspiration to ignite the passion and the flame of Zonta Spirit in your club. So we'll do our really very best to make this happen for you today. I know that everyone who's on today is coming to us from various parts of the world and various clubs. And even with the three of us, we're of course from three different parts of the world. And already today we've been talking about time zones. Here in Australia, it's 1 a.m, just after 1 a.m. on Wednesday, the 26th of July. And for Laurie, it's around mid-morning in north of Toronto in Canada. And for Birgit, if I calculate properly, it's probably around 5 p.m. if I've got that right in Germany. So right. we and all the rest of you are various parts of the world in your own time zone. So it's really amazing to think that we're all talking together from so many parts of the world. Thanks, Megan. The Zonta Spirit is the heart and soul of clubs and supports clubs to create a strong culture of community, fun and friendship in a really inclusive approach. Today, we're going to explore with you what the Zonta Spirit means to you, how you believe clubs can create energy for the Zonta Spirit, and what you think clubs can do differently to ignite the flame of the Zonta Spirit. This Zonta Spirit is an integral part of creating great club culture and supporting the recruitment and retention of members. And we're keen to hear throughout this webinar your thoughts and reflections. And I think back to probably almost this time in 2021 or a little bit later, when I first started speaking with President Uta about her view of the Zonta Spirit and how important it is inside clubs. And I know at that time we were talking already about it being the heart and soul of clubs. During this first half of 2023, the three of us on the team have been leading workshops within our own districts and countries to ask questions of members to understand what they believe the Zonta Spirit is and how clubs are currently bringing this alive, as well as what could be done differently to ensure clubs are living the spirit and contributing to gaining and retaining these new members, as well as contributing to local and global communities. So during our time together, we're going to also be sharing what these members have been telling us. So Laurie, I will pass to you now to start our first round of questions.
Next slide, please, Megan. So I want you to take a few minutes and think, what does the Zonta Spirit mean to me? What is the Zonta Spirit? If you would just like to take a few minutes and type them in the chat, and as they come through, I'm going to read them out. So I'm going to start while we're waiting for the chat box to fill up. For me, Zonta Spirit is friendship. When I think about my Zonta Spirit, I think about all my Zonta friends I have met, not just in my club, but in my area by attending area workshops or area fundraisers, and in my district, being able to go to conferences and meet new people with different ideas and approaches. For Donna Raycraft, sisterhood in advancing for women's rights. Laura Lota, believing in what women can do together. Janice Dermis, friendship, empowerment, education. Supporting and empowering women around me. Donna Stork. Michelle Schultz, friendship, acceptance, attitude. Uta, mutual empathy. Christelle, the feeling that we can change the world together. Absolutely. Carmen, friendship, empowerment, education. Lisa, giving and caring. Absolutely. And as Birgit and Lynn and I have traveled in our prospective districts, we have found that many of these same feelings and words are coming up time and time again. Mutual goals through friendship, coming together of our minds, being part of something bigger. Judy Powers, friendship and working on projects together. Absolutely. All about caring communities. Next slide, please, Megan. So you've seen all these words come through. Now, here's what we did actually find. Next slide. Through polling and participating in different workshops, summits, and pre-conference meetings, we have found that more and more Zonta clubs in different districts are coming up with the same things of why Zonta Spirit means to them. Stepping up, speaking out, creating change, having a safe and respectful space respect and diversity, friendship, fun, caring, the heart for championing for women and girls, people who are generous and giving of themselves and their funds, and standing together with teamwork and community. Next slide, please, Megan. More and more women working together in collaboration, listening, compassion, enthusiasm for Zonta's aims, uplifting, learning, common goals. These are all repeat words that we could hear and we have seen over and over again. Giving a voice to women, making the world a better place for women and girls, belonging, inclusion, the willingness to create change, all come from members all over the world. So you see, in Zonta, we have something very unique. It's not just a geographic location, a club distribution, or even a district. These are things that we all feel as a member of Zonta, the Zonta Spirit is. Next slide. Using our hearts and soul in all we do. Committed individuals that can change the world. We are all members of Zonta International because we have a passion, a flame, a desire to be part of a bigger community. And it's not just for women. Thanks, Michelle. We have men that want to be part of our organization as well, who share the same goals and aspirations as we do to make the world a better place for women and girls. Next slide. These are the words that just kept coming up in discussions in our governor's meeting, and Birgit's going to talk to you a bit about that in a bit, but really connecting in the opportunity to give back. And community. Part of community is really the backbone of what making Zonta is all about. And actually in District 4, where I was privileged to be able to participate in 3 spring summits, we actually talked about community, and we talked about Girl Guides. And in North America and in some European states, guiding, Girl Guides, the scouting movement, is part of the community. And we did kind of a quick poll, which was very interesting. And we found that in the members of our Zonta groups that participated, over 80% of the group had belonged into Girl Guides or scouting organizations in the past. So the premise of community and give back and making the world a better place wasn't just something that they decided to do when they were in Zonta. Over 80% of them belonged to the Girl Guide or the scouting commit clubs, which was really an interesting point. But the connection and the opportunity to give back was overwhelming a theme. Next slide. So now I'm going to turn it over to Birgit, and she's going to explain what we were doing last month with the governors.
Yes, thank you, Laurie. Yeah, it is. First, I want to mention that I think the idea of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts is very special, and it's an opportunity. So we talked about that the cultures are sometimes very different, and we don't have any Girl Scouts or something like that. So yes, we shared our thoughts with the governors last month, and I would like to give you a summary for the last webinars. Perhaps you can agree or add more content. So let's start. And yeah, it's the enthusiasm. We want to give back. That was also my reason to go to Zonta. I wanted to give my experience back to young members. seeing the enthusiasm and inspiration from the district members, being excited and involved with the work we do and friendship. Every member is a proud Zontian. That's a challenge to have proud Zontians, to wear something like a scarf or a pin, a brochure. So she talks about Zonta in her community and with her friends. We should be proud to talk about Zonta, that we can change the world for a better women and all around the world. It's our slogan. Happiness is the uplifting feeling of Zonta Spirit. It's a wonderful feeling indeed. Joyous engagement in advocacy and service. It's very important and it's unique for our aim for Zonta. It's very special. So Zonta Spirit reboots energy. It's contagious. And I think in a lot of clubs, we need reboots. We must have the power to reboot our club and our club life. And that's what's my reason to join the working group with Laurie and Lynn. So Megan, please, the next slide. So the next impressions, setting the stage for mutual respect, listening to one another, the way in which we help other women. And there are so different and so lot of possibilities to help other women. Zonta Spirit is that warm hug of welcome when you see Zonta friends anywhere. Enthusiasm for a shared goal, something for life, yes. And this is also very unique to have a club where you can stay for the whole life. The wraparound friendship when and wherever you encounter Zontians, solidarity and warmness, working together, having fun with purpose. And yes, the purpose is also very important for the next generations, for the next generation Z, how we could call them, and to gain new members. That's very important. So rebooting and purpose are for me very important buzzwords. So that's my summary. And I think the next one is Lynn.
Thank you so much, Birgit. Our interactions with the governors, because we had a smaller group, we had quite a discussion and a conversation because we had a small group of people on. And in fact, when I look at the number of people here, towards the end of the webinar, we might have a chance to take some comments from people, but we'll see how we go. And the governors were very excited. I also had the opportunity way back in April last year during their orientation, when they were in Chicago together, to speak to them about the Zonta Spirit, to help them become passionate and light the flame about Zonta Spirit. So the next question that we're asking you, and we'd love to see your answers in the chat, and if everyone could give some answers, that's fabulous, because what we're going to do is we're going to capture all of your answers, the answers to the first question and the next couple of questions that are to come. And we're going to add those to our bank of what members think. And very soon, within the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be putting together a compilation of the answers we've had to all of our questions, both in our workshops and in our webinars. And we're going to make them available on our page in My Zonta, the tools section, which will explain more later on. So everything that you're sharing today will go into that bank of information to assist clubs. So the next question is, what are some examples of Zonta Spirit in action in your club? So we're waiting for you to add some of these now to the chat. So think about when you're at your club meetings, when you're out doing work in your community or making plans, how do you see Zonta Spirit working in your club for you? So here we go. There are some answers coming into the chat already. Working together on projects, birthdays, Zonta anniversary recognitions, spotlight, special accompaniments, eliminating child marriage and supporting agencies that empower women, that working together and supporting each other, are other examples of how it shows in these clubs. That was from Janice. Laurie, the secret sisters to keep each other connected, you know, being able to say nice things or just send nice messages to each other and we don't know who it is. When new ideas are shared and welcomed by the group. That's from Britt. Getting together other than just formal meetings. So all those opportunities to catch up over in different ways. That's social activity and attending service partner events. Having mentor-mentee relationships with new members. That idea of a buddy. Happy hours to celebrate birthdays and fun with a purpose. Welcoming, they're coming in so fast. Each fellow Zontian at the beginning of the meeting with personal words. Giving away yellow roses in the city centre with information about violence against women and searching for a dialogue about that. The empowerment and working towards our goals together. So many great examples of what your clubs are doing. A small club, but the spirit of each member shows in their dedication to execution of events and fundraisers. That's from Mary. And from Laurie again, toasting a club each meeting to learn about what other clubs around the world are doing and what service projects they are doing. Fabulous. So let's work together. This is from Liliana, working together happily in order to help other women who need more opportunities than we do. So there's so many different ideas there of when the Zonta Spirit's in action. So as you're adding some more of your ideas to the chat, we might move to the next slide. Thanks, Megan. And we'll see what other members have told us. Okay, sorry, I just lost my place. So here we go. Here's what clubs are doing to bring Zonta Spirit into action. People wanting to belong to a group that shows kindness for themselves and the community. Having fun, the fun bus. We talked a lot about that in one of the groups, having that fun bus. They want a direction to go and have a map and be energized and have fun as they're doing it. The working together, the monthly one-on-one coffee catch-ups outside of meetings and committee meetings to help members get to know each other on a deeper level, especially helpful for new members. Then the next section, a buddy system for new members, not just the person who has introduced them. Look after the new members and check in between meetings and inviting them to the next meetings. The jar idea, collecting nice notes about each member and sharing those. Showing respect when individuals are speaking and making sure quieter people have an opportunity to contribute. And mentoring between members or different ages with two-way learning occurring. So many great ideas of what clubs are currently doing. We'll move to the next slide. Thanks, Megan. And in this next slide, so many more ideas that I know you can read for yourself, but to help people from a non-English speaking background, I'll just share a little more. Making the time for fellowship. Storytelling and sharing builds our community. We talked about the buddy group system, encouraging deeper connections. Our club in Toowoomba Garden City has a buddy group, and we've just changed buddy groups and 3 or 4 members. And the expectation is that over the next 3 to 6 months, we'll get together outside of meetings. And in getting together outside of meetings, we'll do something fun. Some people go to coffee, some people go to the park, some people go and play trivia, do all sorts of fun things, and then put photos on our closed Facebook group, just our own club Facebook group, so we can see what everybody's doing. Respect each other's difference and ability and the space to be ourselves. Moving from just fundraising to be more proactive in advocacy. The willingness to embrace change, innovation, and different perspectives. Be welcoming, positive, encouraging, collaborative, and humble. And sharing the knowledge that we're making a difference with women and girls in our community. So since I've been going through those 2 slides, we haven't had any more comments in the chat. So as we progress through the rest of the webinar, if you think of things that your club is doing, please add them to the chat, because you're adding so much value to other clubs around the world when we have all these together to provide information to assist clubs in understanding the different ways in which Zonta Spirit can show in a club. So thank you. That's our second question. And I'm finished now for the moment. So Laurie, it's back to you.
Thanks, Lynn. Next slide, please. So we have talked about the Zonta Spirit. So if the Zonta Spirit is the heart and soul, what can club leaders do differently to create stronger Zonta Spirit, to be more welcoming, inclusive, and supporting the attraction and retention of members, and in taking action to advocacy and service? What can we do? What can we do to increase our membership and retain those great members that we already have? If you would like to share your ideas in the chat, we'd like to hear them. And I know that Lynn said that we could maybe take a few. If you have something that is very unique to your club, perhaps if you would like to raise your hand, we maybe even take that one verbally.
That's a great idea, Laurie. I think we have time to hear some voices, so people aren't just hearing our voices. So it'd be lovely if somebody can think of what a leader could do differently to change the level of Zonta Spirit in their club. Yeah. I'll watch out for those hands, Laurie, to help you.
Okay. Well, I do know that District 1 has been focusing on some of the their spirit in increasing the membership in District 1. So maybe Governor Donna would like to share some of the things that they've been doing. Not to put you on the spot or anything, Donna.
Well, no, we've been excited here in District 1 with starting some new clubs, and I went to Connecticut on the weekend, and we had a lovely time at a wine brew, well, what do you call them, a vineyard, and it was an informational session. It was very low key, but people just really enjoyed meeting each other and talking amongst. So that's one thing. And in my little club of Northampton, which we only have 9 members, we are raising a fundraiser for STEM scholarship in the name of Lynn Goodhue, who was from our club and passed away this past year. And it has been rocking. The music festival, people are coming. It's been crazy. And so I think sometimes when you have an older, smaller club doing something that is very meaningful for a past member and things you belong to, has brought in all kinds of new energy into our club. So that's 2 things I can think of from just today.
Fabulous. Thank you for sharing. Welcome.
Laurie,
welcome.
Sorry, Laurie, I wonder if Teresa Harris might like to make a comment.
I was just going to actually welcome Teresa, current Zonta International Chair for Membership. And in the chat, she said, maybe something about a spirit chat. We could also think about Zonta Spirit isn't, and how we can handle gossip or unsupportive or limiting responses from members. So Teresa, would you like to share your story with us?
Hi, everybody. Let's see here.
Oh, you've got a meme. I was looking for your smiling face.
Yes, I know. I'm in a, in a different situation today. So definitely for the question on the screen right now, leaders model good behavior, good Zonta spirit. People watch everything the president does, whether she comes in and gives a big sigh when she starts the meeting and makes it seem really hard, or if she comes in positive, that spirit is spread across the whole room. And I love it when I see a president bring her membership chairs front and center and well, I have a heart for membership, of course, but every committee chair, give them a spotlight and show appreciation in front of the whole group. And then guess what? Then everybody wants to be in that position in the future. And that helps with keeping people engaged. But yes, as far as gossip goes, I think we could use some tips on what to do when we hear gossip, when we hear people talking about other people. It's a really nice thing to say something like simple, like, "Ooh, that sounds like gossip. I'd rather not talk about it," and just move it to something else, because it just can't be tolerated. And that is one of the things that really hurts the Zonta spirit of our clubs and makes people leave. So that's all I have to say about that, Lori.
Well,
Oh, and
thank you for,
the
go ahead.
sorry, I forgot the tech tip. In the chat on the bottom, there's 3 dots. If you click those 3 dots, you can save the chat because there are wonderful comments in there. And I know you'll want to remember them.
Thank you so much. And actually, we are going to save this chat in a bigger screen, like Lynn said, and we're going to be sharing all the information in an upcoming webinar or a session on our tools, on the tools page for the Zonta Spirit, so you'll be able to see them. Thank you. And I think that that's a very important concern that you have raised, Teresa, about gossip and things that are not positive that happen in our clubs. And I know as professionals we deal with it not just at work, we deal with it in our community and at Zonta, and I think that we need to be able to show respect. And I know that Lynn and Birgit and I have talked about how much better the world would be if we all were positive and a little more caring and a little more understanding. And I think that's part of the Zonta spirit that we want to foster and model throughout our clubs. Lynn, you were going to say something.
Oh, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. I wondered if President Uta might like to comment about what she views that club leaders and club members can do differently. I'm sure that President Uta's given a lot of thought to that in the past and currently in her role. So, President Uta, are you willing to share some thoughts?
Right, happy to. Thank you, Lynn. So for me, for instance, it starts with communication, a good communication from the leader and among the Zontians. And stop writing too many emails, stop writing too many WhatsApp, stop answering immediately on a WhatsApp, think about it and sleep a night, and perhaps the answer will be better. But take the telephone, talk to others. So I think that is where it starts. And I can fully agree what Teresa said about gossip. Be aware that this can be poison for a club. We don't have to be best friends with everyone, but we have to find a good and respectful way how to communicate, a professional way also how to communicate. And this is, for me, the club president is the head of the club who goes ahead and who lives the life of a club. But she also needs the support. So this is the other side of the coin. The members have to support her, but the president sets the tone, and she can do a lot. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I've got Teresa just put into the chat, in a world where we can be anything, let's be kind, right? And I think that is part of the Zonta spirit. And the members that we have that want to join Zonta, they're the members that want to put back, that want to be kind. And sometimes we get into a position where we're having a dark day and we just need a Zonta buddy to pull us out, and those kind words will reiterate.
Right.
Next slide, please. So here's what other members have told us that they're going to work towards in doing things differently. Promote opportunities to be more involved. Help new members understand the committee roles. Ask new members for their opinions at meetings, and not just their opinions. Ask them to participate. This is a stage, as Birgit has said, of reboot. We want to reboot our clubs. We want to change or enhance the culture that we already have. Not everyone needs to reboot, but if we can take this opportunity to breathe some fresh life into our clubs and to share more about Zonta and what we can do to make things a little cheerier, become better at mentoring each other. You know, sometimes we are thrown into tasks or do skill things that we feel that people feel that we're, you know, skilled in doing. Just because you're an accountant doesn't mean you want to be the treasurer for your club. But maybe with your skills, you would mentor someone who wants to learn more about accounting into that position, and thereby using your skills and talents to help someone else grow. Promote opportunities to be involved. Individuals that step forward to contribute ideas and allow others to run with the ideas. Sometimes we're not good at the details. Sometimes we're just big picture. But in our clubs, there's members who love the details, who want to plan those events and figure out what color the napkins can be and move forward to having a great event or fundraiser. And you know, when you're asked to step for leadership, one of the great things is there's always a safety net of those around that will help you, and always be prepared to say yes. Next slide, please, Megan. What else can you do differently? Well, include all members into discussion. Everyone has a viewpoint, and it just depends from where they're sitting, what their point of view actually is. And you're not going to know the heartbeat of your club unless you are inclusive of all those members with all those ideas. And one of the things that we've also learned is that community is really the heart and soul of successful Zonta clubs. Invest in those relationships in your club. Talk, share, meet. And you've heard about the being on the fun bus. If your bus is fun and you're going someplace fun, that's when the excitement and the energy comes. That's when people want to join. They want to join a bus that's going somewhere, that has direction, and everybody on the bus is having fun. You want to make sure as a leader that you're tapping into people's strengths. And perhaps, as I said, they don't want to be treasurer, but maybe they never thought about mentoring someone into that position, and knowing that their skills are important, but they're not just a member of their club for their skills. They're a member of your club for what they can bring to help enhance and grow others. Being in a healthy Zonta Spirit, enthusiastic club is actually a powerful thing. It's making one voice stronger. And as you can see, we have a stronger voice if we all stick together. Any questions in the chat box that I've missed, Lynn?
No, I haven't seen any since you started, Laurie, at this stage. So I think we're doing pretty well. I answered a question about buddy groups, so I think we're right.
Okay, great.
Thanks so much, Laurie.
So with these tools, you could actually run a workshop for facilitating the workshop, and we're going to show you in the Zonta tools on how to facilitate that workshop moving forward. Thanks, Lynn.
Thanks so much, Laurie. I've actually got it ready to be sent to Megan after we create. We're thinking what we might put in on our web page in My Zonta is a short slide set that's made up of these purple slides that you've seen here today, and adds in all of your feedback as well, and just create that so that as clubs and members, everyone can log into My Zonta and find them and use them as you see fit. So that's the plan, and I'd be hopeful we'll have something there within the next 3 or 4 weeks, depending how time goes, both for us and for headquarters and for Megan's people to be able to upload for us. So that's where we're heading. So Birgit, just before we move on, I wonder if you'd like to make any comments about what you think clubs and leaders in clubs can do differently. I wonder if you had any thoughts you'd like to share. Maybe not. So I'll keep on going. So let's have a look now at the next slide. So what we want to do now, as we're getting well and truly through our webinar, is to introduce you all, if you haven't already seen it. And I've seen somebody on the chat has the lovely black and white version of our logo. I'm going to have to go back. It's Crystal. Crystal has the lovely black and white version, the white on black version of our logo on her background. So thank you, Crystal. It's lovely. And you can see that both myself and Birgit are using the 2 different colours. I know Laurie can't use hers because she's on a different computer in her work today and isn't able to put her background up. So that's why she hasn't got hers showing. So this is our 2 examples of our Zonta Spirit icon. And there are some guidelines, but they're very simple guidelines, and you can download them on our webpage or in the public relations webpage in tools. And in a moment, I'm going to ask Megan to log into my Zonta and just quickly show you where these exist, so it's easier for you to find them, so you can use them as you wish. So Megan, we might move to the guidelines. Next slide. So very simple. We want them to be shared. We want them to be used. We want them to get out there. So, and of course, the way in which that logo came to life, I think it started with Birgit seeing a little logo or an icon during the convention in Hamburg. And she showed us that, and it was a heart. And so then we were talking about the people in our clubs and what that would look like. So we put our ideas together and sent them off to lovely Kate Edrin at headquarters in Chicago through Megan, and said, we're looking for a logo or an icon that is about our heart and soul, and that's what's been created for us. And we're very proud of it, and we thank the creativity within our staff at headquarters for creating that for us. So that's how you can use it. Thank you very much. So moving to the next slide, you'll see our Zoom backgrounds. These are the backgrounds that you're seeing a couple of us using today. And as I said, Christelle's created hers out of the black and white logo that's also available. So they're very easy to use, download, and feel free to use them when you're doing Zoom calls, etc. And they just create conversation as well, because people say, oh, what's that? And what's that all about? Excellent. So now, as the next slide, slide 22, says where they're available. And whenever you're ready, Megan, if you can, would you be able to slip out of the presentation and just quickly log into my Zonta? So as Megan's doing this, all being well, I think it'll work. Just wait for a moment to see if that's possible to log into my Zonta and show everyone how it works. I think it'll just, there we go. So as Megan does this, she'll go up to, it's already logged in, there's the My Zonta, and you'll see from My Zonta going to Tools, clicking in Tools under My Zonta, and then once you do, we're very lucky. The Zonta Spirit has its own bar under Special Tools, and there the 4th one down is Zonta Spirit. So when you click on that, and some of you will have already figured this out because you've downloaded things, however, then you'll see we've already got some videos. These videos were released last year. It doesn't show me in the best light, does it, the way they're stopped? And there's some there from Laurie as well, and also Birgit's done one in German, and there's some more recent ones from myself. They're all very short videos, around 3 minutes, 3 to 4 at the most, that just introduce ideas about the Zonta Spirit. So you can choose one of those whenever you like, and you could show it at a club meeting to create conversation, or show it to a new member. They're very, very quick, and the reason for keeping them short is so that you can use them very quickly. We'll do some more in German, or we'll ask Birgit to do some more in German as the time progresses. And Laurie's done one about a Zonta Spirit exercise, and it's a fun one to do in your clubs as well. So Megan, can you show them where the PR tools, that click through to the PR tools, please? Up here is the click through to the PR tools, and then it'll take you to PR, and Megan will be better at this than I am. I always take ages to find them. There's the Zonta Spirit icon. And it has the icons there for you, and then the Zoom backgrounds are also in the PR tools section when you click through. So that just shows you how you can find it. So all members can find that just by logging into My Zonta and going to tools. And of course, the tools for all the other international committees and all the information you want are also in that location. So thank you, and thank you very much. What we'll be doing after this webinar, after we've done both webinars today and the governors webinar, we'll be putting these webinars up on the tools page as well. So people can watch these webinars again, or people who haven't been able to join us will be able to watch the webinars. So thank you so much, Megan. I'll talk while you make your way back to the slide set for us. The next question I'm going to be asking everybody is, I don't know whether it's my turn. No, it's Laurie's turn. I better stop talking. Laurie, I'm sorry, you were meant to be doing that. You'll get to do it next time. I'm sorry, I've done the wrong thing in terms of our run sheet. So next time around, you can do all of that. We've been trying to share this a lot. So, Laurie, would you like to pick up from slide 25, please?
Go ahead, Lynn. I'm good. That's fine.
You sure?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. It's just me. I got on a roll and just kept talking, didn't I? All right. So just to finish the rest of the webinar, we're wondering how you might like us to support you. It's really interesting when you're doing this work globally for Zonta to know what else you might want for us. So in the chat, if you've got some ideas or things you'd really like us to do to support you, can you put those in the chat at this point, and we'll see. I see there's a comment there about create generic Zonta business cards and give each member 10 so they can hand out when discussing Zonta. That's a great idea from what things could be done differently. So are there any ways you'd like more support from us, or what we could do to assist you as you progress to continue to build great spirit in your clubs and that great club culture that we talk about, so that everyone feels welcomed, everyone's working together, they feel like they belong?
Oh, while we're waiting, Lynn, perhaps we could just talk a little bit about the exercise that is on the Zonta tool page for creating the Zonta Spirit. It is a very good little exercise. There is a PDF of all the instructions after you actually watch the video. And it is an interactive icebreaker, you may say, for the Zonta Spirit and introducing it into your clubs. And this is a particular exercise that all your governors have actually done, because this was an exercise we did at governors orientation last biennium before they became governors. So it is an exercise that creates dialogue, it creates enthusiasm, and there's maybe even a little bit of a competition happening as they go through the workings of the exercise. So it is there with a full PDF of instructions. So please take it and make it your own. It starts off with a piece of 8.5 by 11 paper and a pen and a lot of energy. So it's a great exercise.
Thanks, Laurie. I'm just having a look to see what's come into the chat. So there's some good idea here. A video about the Zonta Spirit with the goal to attract members with subtitles in all languages. That's a challenge for us there, Crystal. Thank you. And Liliana is perhaps participating in Zoom club meetings of other countries. And that's a great idea, isn't it, to share if another club in another country is having a Zoom meeting, how could, or even if they're in a room together, how could you participate or observe or be part of a meeting in another country? I'll keep that in mind. It's something that each of us might be able to manage with our own clubs. Yes, it's good to maybe think about having some young women talk about what Zonta means to them. Great ideas. Thank you for sharing those. Okay, so moving on to close our webinar now today, we'll move to the next slide. What we've done in our Zonta Spirit Working Group is each of us is the contact for a certain number of districts. So if you can have a look at which one of us looks after the district that your club is in, and just make a note of that, and you'll see our email addresses there. I mean, you can email any one of us, it doesn't really matter, but this just makes it easier for us to respond to you. So I'm looking after the clubs in the Southern Hemisphere in particular. Laurie has the North American districts, and Birgit has the districts in Europe and the United Kingdom. So that's a short version of where we're all based. So if, and just make a note of our email addresses from that, and please feel free to ask questions of us, and we'll see if we can help you with ideas, etc., or where things might be. And moving then to say, look, it's been a pleasure being able to speak with you all today. It's been an extra pleasure to have President Uja and Teresa Harris, who's chair of our membership committee, with us. And Teresa also came into one of our governor sessions as well, because the membership and Zonta Spirit are just linked together. They're just like this. They just joined so closely that strong membership, we believe, memberships get stronger and stronger because the Zonta Spirit and membership are like this. They're joined up really closely together. So, Laurie, do you have any closing comments? And then I'll move to Birgit for any closing comments.
I would just like to thank you all for stepping up to leadership. It's not always easy, but it's always rewarding. We always learn something when we take a step to come outside our comfort zones. So thank you all for participating today. And as Lynn has said, please reach out if you're having challenges or you want more information, or if there's something that we can noodle together, we're here to support you.
Thanks, Laurie. Birgit, would you like to make the closing comments?
Yes, I agree. I also say thank you very, very much for attending this webinar. I think there were a lot of information, but important information. And yes, and I finish with a slogan from Ute: we will build a better world for women and girls. That's why we're here.
And Uja, would you like to wrap up with your comments? It's such a privilege to have you as part of the webinar. We'd love you to make a comment.
It's a pleasure for me, dear Lynn. First of all, thank you, Lynn, Laurie, and Birgit for preparing this webinar and for driving us through it. It was very inspiring for me. I love the feedback, what I heard, the various feedbacks, and I think it's a lot food for thoughts. What I can recommend is to all of you on club level, discuss what you heard today with your club members, with your club board, and ask them the question that we heard today and start a discussion about the Zonta Spirit. What does it mean in your club? Nothing fits for all, so we all have to find our way. But I think for me, it's important that we address this topic, that we talk about it, and that we are aware that the Zonta Spirit, it's nothing for granted, that we have to work on it. Like in a relationship, we have to work on it every day. And but we all spend our free time in Zonta, and we want to enjoy it, and we want to have good feelings, and we want to get something back from it. So thank you very much to all of you for listening, for organizing, for facilitating. Thank you.
Thanks so much, President Uta. And Megan, thank you so much. Megan Radovich, the interim chief executive at Zonta headquarters in Chicago. Thank you, as always, for your support of all of the work in Zonta, but particularly the work in Zonta Spirit and being with us today. So enjoy what you do, have a great time, and enjoy thinking about and doing things differently with the Zonta Spirit. Thank you, everyone, and I hope we see you again.